Hey guys, my name is Hannah. Welcome to my channel. So I have accumulated quite a lot of books. As you can see, this isn't even all of the books that I own. I have a full shelf here, a smaller shelf here, and then an entire wall shelf out there that I'll show you guys. And I really want to reorganize it, but before I reorganize it, I wanted to have a record of how many books I had, and instead of just writing them all down in a journal, I kind of wanted to make a video of it, so I thought that I would do a bookshelf tour for you guys. So because I have a lot of books, if you guys want to get a snack, get a drink, sit down, as you can see, it's kind of a long video, but it's just all the books that I own, and that's quite a few, so we'll get through it together. So we're gonna start off with these bookshelves in my room. I have this full length kind of wall bookshelf and then a smaller one and a few books in between that aren't really like reading books. They're kind of textbooks and stuff, so let's get started. On top of my shelf here we have my typewriter, just kind of a fun sun hat that I wore to my friend's wedding that I was in. This mug that says Queen of Books. I got it in a fairy loot box, which was really cool. It's just kind of small, and so I just keep it up here. And then this fun little starlight. This shelf I pretty much call my Sarah shelf, but I did add Fallen Kingdom to it, so we'll start over here. First off, we have a book of Spirit and Thieves by Morgan Rhodes. This is a companion novel to the Fallen King series and is of a different caliber, just kind of goes off. There's also a second and third book to this series. I do not own them though. Next we have the Fallen Kingdom series, also by Morgan Rhodes. Book 1 is A Fallen Kingdoms. I don't actually own book 2, that is one that I'm missing. That one is called Rebel Springs. 3 is A Gathering Darkness. 4 is Frozen Tides. And 5 is Crystal Storm. The 6th book is coming out in 2018, and that is called Immortal Reign. Now on to the best part. This is my kind of Sarah shelf. First off, I have this little notebook. It says, "You Could Rattle the Stars." On the back it has all of the characters from the Throne of Glass series that are kind of important, you know, just kind of the inner circle a little bit, and then it's just really cool. I actually got this at the signing of Empire of Storms. There was a kind of Q&A thing about book trivia, and I got a question right, so I won this little thing, and it's cool. So it just sits up here. First off, we have The Assassin's Blade, which is the novella bind-up that has 4 short stories with Selena before Throne of Glass, and it's really nice to read this kind of in the middle of the series, probably after Heir of Fire. You just get all of these little quirks, and it kind of fills in some backstory that is much needed before going into Empire of Storms. Book 1, of course, is Throne of Glass. I actually don't have book 2 right now because I'm lending it out to a friend. She just started and is already on the 2nd book. I'm very proud of her. 3 is Heir of Fire. 4 is Queen of Shadows. And 5 is Empire of Storms. Then we have her A Court of Thorns and Roses series. The first one is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I just have the dust jacket over here because the actual book is over by my nightstand. Second, we have A Court of Mist and Fury. Finishing up the trilogy, we have A Court of Wings and Ruin. As you can see, these all have a very important part of my shelf. They're on the top shelf, so I really like it. Moving on to my second shelf, we have kind of the dark toned colors and then going on to the red. So here I have my little Darth Vader figure. Obviously I like Star Wars. Over here we even have a Kylo Ren eraser. They just kind of chill here. Starting off, we have S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Durst. This is an amazing book that's supposed to look like a library book and then has many different stories inside of it. It's kind of like supposed to be a movie in a book, and I'm very excited to read it. Next, we have The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. This is a thriller kind of mystery, I think, serial novel that my brother got me for Christmas last year. Then we have 3 Dark Crowns by Kendari Blake. After the End by Amy Plum, which is set in Alaska to begin with, so I really like that one. Next is Love Letters to the Dead by Ava Delara. Then we have Dangerous by Shannon Hale. Next is Flashfall by Jenny Moore. I also got this in a fairy loot box along with that mug. Next we have The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Heelig. Reboot by Amy Tintera. The Transcriptionist by Amy Rowland. Before I Burn by Gout Hiviol. Deception Point by Dan Brown. Memory Wall by Anthony Doerr. The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Wild by Cheryl Strayed. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Why We Broke Up by Daniel Handler. This is not a book by Carrie Smith, which is just a kind of journal thing where you can destroy it, and it's pretty cool. The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier. The Cruelest Miles by Gay Salisbury and Lainey Salisbury. This is a national bestseller talking about the Iditarod, which is also the story of Balto. If you guys would know, it's about mushing. And last for this shelf, we have Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. Moving on from my red shelf, we're gonna go into the white and kind of following with the red. We kind of have like red and orange and yellow over here continuing. But I digress. A small mason jar just with some random change in it. This used to be for our 2016 spring break, but obviously it's just holding change now. I also have this ladder that sits on here. This was a birthday gift from my aunt and uncle. It says from the bottom to the top, it says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," and it just reminds me, you know, life doesn't always go as planned. You kind of have to climb the ladder no matter what. So starting out, I have the UK edition of the Mistborn trilogy, which is one of my absolute favorite series. It would go on the top shelf with Sarah, but you know, it's white and it goes well here. So we have the first three of the series. First we have The Final Empire. Second is The Well of Ascension, and then The Hero of Ages. Next we have Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. Connectome by Sebastian Soong. This is just about how the brain's wiring makes us who we are, kind of about personalities. I am a psychology major, so I have quite a few of these kind of brain books. Next we have The Shell Collector by Anthony Doerr. The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I don't have the first one because I haven't found it in hardcover and I just haven't ordered it off of Amazon yet. And that would be A Darker Shade of Magic. And then the third and final one in the trilogy is A Conjuring of Light. Then we have the UK version of The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Chima. The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell. StrengthsFinder 2.0 by Tom Rath. This is kind of a personality book that you take a quiz online and it shows you what your strengths are and how well you work with other people with different strengths. Next we have Area X by Jeff Vandermeer. This is a compilation trilogy of the Southern Reach, which has Annihilation, Authority, and Acceptance all bound up in it. Then we have Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradbury and Jean Graves. This is kind of like the Strength Finder, but except in emotional intelligence. Going into the orange, we have Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, and The Martian by Andy Weir. Moving down from that shelf, we have my blue and continued white shelf because I have no room for all the books that I own. I have a teacup here that was given to me for my birthday by one of my best friends from high school. He's just holding an Iron Man figure that I also got for my birthday. It's a ZQT. Obviously, I love Harry Potter, as you will see in my living room shelves. I also have a Princess Leia figurine to go along with my Darth Vader, and another eraser that's just mini R2-D2. It's pretty cool. And now onto the books. Here, because they don't fit on my shelf, I just have the the first and the last one in the second trilogy of Mistborn that goes along with them. The first is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson, and the third is The Bands of Mourning. The second book is called Shadows of Self, and it is in my backpack right now. Then we have The Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, Wolf in White Van by John Darnielle, Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the second book in the Illuminae files, 100 Sideways Miles by Andrew Smith, Mind Games by Kirsten White, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Henri Sands, Morningstar by Pierce Brown, which is also one of my absolute favorite series. Then we have the beautiful hardcover of All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, with a memory box behind it to fill space. We have The Archived by Victoria Schwab, The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, which is the second book in the Kiss of Deception series, and The Beauty of Darkness, also by Mary E. Pearson. This is the concluding novel to the Kiss of Deception trilogy. Tales from Both Sides of the Brain by Michael S. Gazzaniga. This is also just a brain book I find really interesting in psychology. Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which I kind of have upside down so that I can hide this red piece with... I hide the red piece with Leia just so that it's all blue and all matches. Moving down to my last shelf, we just have some mass paperback books and a few normal books that just, you know, didn't make the color coding of the shelves that I wanted. So let's start over here. We have Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, the mass paperback edition of The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson, which is the first book in the second trilogy to the Mistborn series. The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, Vicious by V.E. Schwab, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, Awaken by Katie Kaksavinsky, Poison Princess by Cressley Cole, Shipbreaker by Paolo Bacigalupi, Amelia Ann is Dead and Gone by Kat Rosenfeld, A Northern Light by Jennifer Donnelly, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, Strands of Bronze and Gold by Jane Nickerson, Sea of Shadows by Kelly Armstrong, The Kite Runner by Khalid Hassini, Conversion by Catherine Howe, Soundless by Rochelle Mead, Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance of Dragons. Just waiting on Winds of Winter, George. We have Beauty Queen by Libba Bray, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews, Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin, and Twilight. We have a very beat up edition of Breaking Dawn, New Moon, and Twilight, with the anniversary edition on the bottom. So moving over from this shelf, we are gonna go sideways. So here I just have some of my textbooks and extra notebooks, some binders. This is building a medical vocabulary for medical terminology. I have a signing book, my psychology books, using information technology for computer tech, drugs and behavior, which was for a psychopharmacology class. And then moving on. Again, for books that didn't fit on the shelf right now is The Fate of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Attier, which is the second book to The Wrath and the Dawn, and The Diviners by Libba Bray. Here we have the continuation of Orange and Red from over there, coming over here with the rainbow theme, with going from yellow to red and black, and then some blues and greens. I really like the color edition of it. Hi Sirius, what you doing? You enjoying the books? Sounds good. Starting out, we have Lexicon by Max Berry, The Dragonfly and Ember by Diana Gabaldon, which is Emily's book, but I am only that far in it and not getting any further right now. Illumine by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, Finnegan of the Rock by Melina Marchetta, Give Me Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which is one of my absolute favorite novels. Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, which is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. We have The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon and her second book, The Mime Order. We have Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, which is the second book in the Truth Witch series. Night Film by Marisha Pessel. Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. I don't have the first one yet, but I've read them both. I just haven't collected them. Fish Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I also just have some postcards over here from Alaska just to remind me of home. We have Katmai, Wrangell St. Elias National Park, Glacier Bay National Park, and Denali National Park, the Gates of the Arctic. Coming down here we have the yellow books. We have a Nancy Drew collection by Carolyn Keene, A Falcon Guide to Hiking Oregon, and I plan to do every hike in here before I leave. Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, which is the concluding novel to the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which is the second book in the Red Rising trilogy. The Black Prison by Brent Weeks, which is the first book in the Lightbringer trilogy, series. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. Euphoria of the Exiles by Melina Marchetta, which is the second book in the Finnegan of the Rock series. Continuing with Quintana of Charin by Melina Marchetta, which is the concluding novel. The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis. Here we have The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, which is the second book in the Name of the Wind series. The Kingkiller Chronicles. The Blinding Knife by Brent Weeks, which is the continuation of the Lightbringer series. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chokshi. And Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. Alright guys, so now that we were done with these two shelves, let's go out into the living room. Lovely! Alright, so for how big this shelf is, I think that we might as well start on the top shelf. I have kind of a Harry Potter shelf and a dedicated series shelf over on that side. So let's start over here. Here we have all of my original Harry Potter books with some added additions, like there's some Harry Potter playing cards, the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, just a mass paperback edition that I thought it was interesting to pick up, so I did. We have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, first one, which is pretty beat up. I'm actually proud of all of these that have been loved and are kind of falling apart just a little bit, but it just means that, oh no! It just means that they've definitely been loved properly, I would say. So we have the Chamber of Secrets, and then the Prisoner of Azkaban in paperback edition, the Goblet of Fire in paperback as well, onto the Order of the Phoenix, the Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows, which is probably the most loved of these books. So moving on from my original editions, I just have some nice little, you know, Harry Potter trinkets. I have the Gryffindor journal, because that's what house I am. We have Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, also, you know, by J.K. Rowling. We have kids' letters to Harry Potter, which is compiled by Bill Adler, and these are just letters kids wrote to the character Harry Potter around the world. My high school boyfriend got this for me when he went to Universal Studios during his senior year, which was really cute. Here's where I actually become a terrible person in the booktube community and break all of the rules, because I do have all of the sleeves for all of these hardcover books. They were just taken off, and I moved so much during my childhood that they got packed in the wrong places, and I'm just really sad and kind of ripped and broken, so they just stay back here and just try to be less sad. I don't know. I'm sorry. Next we have this letter that my friend sent to me for my birthday. Again, it is to me at the Burrow, which is what I call my apartment very lovingly, and it's my Hogwarts acceptance letter. So it actually has all of the Hogwarts things. It has my name on it and that they're pleased to inform me that I've been accepted. It was just one of the best birthday gifts that I could have ever gotten, and I love it. Next we have Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the original screenplay by J.K. Rowling, which is actually the, you know, it's a screenplay, it's not the book. And then in front of it I have this gorgeous edition of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince that I just found at one of our local bookshops. It's actually partially illustrated, and it has some really cool pages inside of it, and then just this lovely box set with Harry and Albus going on their adventure, and this kind of hides all of the blasphemy in the back. Next up we have, this is actually a Barnes & Noble gift card. These are just what came with it that I got for Christmas one time. And then we have the pièce de résistance, Sirius Black's wand, with all of its glory and beautiful detail. I absolutely love it. And also Sirius Black is pretty amazing. I did name my cat after him, even though it's a cat. He's black, and I thought it would work. And I have another edition of Harry Potter. This is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I would assume it is because this is in their chess match. This is actually in Dutch or German, but I found it at Goodwill and it was like $3, and obviously I needed to add every Harry Potter edition to my shelf that I can. Next we have the Hogwarts Classics, the little like library thing that comes with it. Inside we have Quidditch Through the Ages and the Tales of Beedle and Bard that are just in hardcover and come in that lovely box set. Then I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is the UK edition. I've started collecting them. I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This one's in paperback. I have the Goblet of Fire in hardcover, and those are just coming along with my collection. And then my friend went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios, and she got me a howler. So that gets to sit up there as well with all the paraphernalia along with everything else. For my 21st birthday, my mom actually shipped me all of these books. These are the new newly illustrated paperback editions by Jim Kay. He did a wonderful job on all of the new covers, and they just look really nice. And then moving on, I have some other series. Here we have Shatter Me by Tahata Mafi, Unravel Me by Tahata Mafi, and Ignite Me, which is the finishing book to the Shatter Me series. And I have Cruel Crown by Victoria Aveyard, which is a novella to the Red Queen series. And then Red Queen, Glass Sword, and King's Cage, which is the third. There's still one more in this series. And over here we have my conductor hat, Mickey ears, that Emily bought me on our spring break trip for my birthday. And then this just little piece that says Hannah. It's obviously just wooden. And we have all of the Mortal Instruments series. So starting off with the City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass. You guys can also read all the way up to City of Heavenly Fire. And then these are kind of separated just because it's hardback and paperback for Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and then Clockwork Princess, all by Cassandra Clare. All lovely books. Moving on to the bottom shelves. We'll start over here. Starting off, we have The Host by Stephanie Meyer, The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, The Infinite Sea, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and that was illustrated by Jim Kay, and it's absolutely wonderful. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin, and The Evolution of Mara Dyer, which is the second book. I don't have the third one. I'm not sure I'm going to finish this series. Here we have my starting collection of the Percy Jackson series. I actually haven't read these yet. We have The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, Battle of the Labyrinth. I'm trying to collect all the old editions. And then we have The Maze Runner in the UK editions. And my little figurine of Toothless. Moving on, we have Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, Siege and Storm. I don't have the third one yet, but I plan on getting it. The Assassin's Curse by Rose Clark, The Pirate's Wish, which is a continuing on with that series, Paper Towns by John Green. I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak, Anna Justin Blood by Kendari Blake, Girl of Nightmares, which is the second book in that duology, Divergent by Veronica Roth, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, Stardust by Neil Gaiman, Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion, Tamar by Mal Peet, The Call of the Wild by Jack London, Aragon by Christopher Paolini, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli, The Fairy's Return by Gail Carson Levine, Stories for Nighttime and Some for the Day by Ben Laurie, Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom, The Giver by Lois Lowry, Gathering Blue, also by Lois Lowry, part of the quartet, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and If I Stay by Gail Foreman. Continuing on with that gaggle, I just have some little canvases that my mom got me when I actually went to college, so Family Rules. I have this quirky little mug that's filled with caramel apple lollipops just for somebody to grab when they're walking by. Another canvas. We have this flamingo that happened with a party and ended up just staying there. These little Lego things that I just turned into a rainbow when I was in like middle school, and I just like how they look, so they stay here. We have this vase that has an oath on it from the sorority that I was in. It also is full of candy most of the time. As you can see, there's some Sour Patch Kids in there. And we have this lovely Hamiltome that is the collection of all of the Hamilton things and is actually like the script and behind the scenes of everything that happened in the collection by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy Carter. I absolutely love this. My brother got me this after Hamilton came out, and it was just kind of a surprise, and it was just one of the best surprises because in the middle of the summer and I just hadn't gotten around to getting it yet, and he just came on with it and it was wonderful. Next we have some random fairy loot bag, probably with some swag that's in there, and it just kind of sits in there because I don't need book plates, and as you can see, my shelves are pretty full as it is. Next we have a book called Tiny Apartments, kind of how to decorate for them. And then we have all of my Calvin and Hobbes collection. I have all of these different comic books that I used to read when I was little, and just wonderful Bill Watterson, and it's just my childhood, and I really like those and having them there. And we just have some other children's books that are happening, like Tiki Tiki Tembo, which I really liked as a kid and was one of my favorites, so I just collect some of them as I see them if they're for a good deal. We have A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein, because obviously I love his writing and his little quirky poems. The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. Jesus Freaks, which is a book about martyrdom, and it's just a whole bunch of collection of stories about religious zealots around the world that have gone through miraculous things. It's actually really good. And I have my Bible from when I was in Sunday school, Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. I have my Latin dictionary because I took Latin in high school and at the beginning of college. And then just some various textbooks that happen to not be able to be sold back. We have like Western World, some health ones, academic writing, how not to not write bad. And we have the Book of Mormon, a French-English dictionary, Jumper by Steve Gould, the Angels trilogy by Lurleen McDaniel, which is just a collection of like hope stories. We have various dictionaries, like Korean and English dictionary. There's some little Bibles and New Testament and Psalms that's up there. And then another children's book that's called Fancy Nancy. My mom got it for me because I named her car Nancy and she thought it was hilarious, so I got that for Christmas one year. Alright, moving on down here, we have Matched by Ali Condi up there because it didn't fit. 172 Hours on the Moon by John Harstad. Ever by Gail Carson Levine. Every Day by David Leviathan. Lock In by John Scalzi. Crash and Burn by Michael Hassan, which is really good. I definitely recommend this book. Fairest by Marissa Meyer, which is a novella about Queen Lavanna in the Cinder series. We have Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter, and Stars Above, which is also a collection of novellas about the Lunar Chronicles and the various characters at different points in their life. Next we have The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. The Ask and the Answer, which is in the Chaos Walking trilogy. I don't have the third one. That would be Of Monsters and Men. The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. After the Snow by S.D. Crockett. One Crow Alone by S.D. Crockett. The Young Elites by Marie Lu. Legend, Prodigy, and Champion, all by Marie Lu. Proxy by Alex London, which is a wonderful cover, and I'm mad that they changed it. Guardian, which is the second book in this duology. On the bottom shelf of the bookshelf in here is all of my classics. So I took AP English, obviously I'm an avid reader, and I absolutely love all of the classics and all of the books that I've continued reading with my English minor in college. So these are all very well worn and written in and just have a lot of meaning to me. We have A Prayer for One Meanie by John Irving, Animal Farm by George Orwell. And now, as you can see, we have quite a few Frankensteins. Frankenstein happens to be my favorite classic ever by Mary Shelley. So Frankenstein, Barnes & Noble classic, Frankenstein, and Frankenstein. I like this one the best. It looks just creepy and just cool. We have Robert Frost's poem, which is just an anthology. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is a play by Tom Stoppard following Rosencrantz and Guildenstern that are from Hamlet. This is actually one of my absolute favorite plays. As you can see, I've written and post-it noted in here. It's got some of my absolutely favorite quotes and words in it. So, very nice, very short. I recommend reading it. We have To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. To Build a Fire and Other Stories by Jack London. I do like his writing. Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Call of the Wild and White Fang by Jack London. As you can see, I still like Jack London. And another taller edition of Frankenstein. We have Holy the Firm by Annie Dillard. This is actually one of my favorite authors from AP English, and this book was given to me by my AP English teacher. She wrote a lovely note into it, and it's because the favorite book that we read was by Annie Dillard. And this is just another one. It's very transcendentalist, it's pretty deep, but I think it's absolutely beautiful writing. And that book would be Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard. It got a little bit of water damage and like markers, but it's also absolutely written in and loved to the classic that it is. We have Into the Wild by John Krakauer, which is a stupid book. We have Long Ago in Oregon by Claudia Lewis. Three Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. He also wrote The Road, which is the original dystopian novel. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. Beloved by Toni Morrison. The Aeneid by Virgil, translated by Robert Fagles. This was also one of my favorite. So you can see all the writing, and we have some post-it notes and a lot of descriptions that we went into when we delved into this one. I have Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Grendel by John Gardner, which is a book about the monster from Beowulf. J.B. by Archibald MacLeish. This is also another play, but it's got a really cool cover, and it's really pretty. It's one of my favorite covers, not one of my favorite plays though. We have The Marrow of Tradition by Charles Chestnut. A Country Doctor by Sarah Jewett. The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. Hamlet by Shakespeare, obviously. Another edition of Hamlet. Beowulf, translated by Seamus Heaney. Everyman and the Second Shepherd's Play, written by Anonymous. This is also another play. I have The Iliad by Homer. Another one of my favorites, translated by Robert Fagles. And then these three are just really lovely editions that I got at our local bookstore that sells really nice editions for very cheap. This one is Beowulf. Came in a cool box, but this is what it looks like on the outside. And it also has, it's illustrated and its edges are blue, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love, love, love this edition. The same with this edition of The Red and the Black. I don't even know what this book is about, but it looks nice on my shelf. And then Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I also haven't read this, but I like this edition. Alright guys, so that was my bookshelf tours, Bookshelves Tour, plural, of all of the books that I own, which is many, many, many. Sorry that it's so long, but, you know, I have a lot of books. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you go and watch what other bookish things you want to watch. Read all of these books. I am working on my way through reading all of these books, and we'll get through it together. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!